Hello, everyone. This is Faith in Football, and I'm David Burns. Please join me in prayer real quick. Dear Lord, thank you so much for all that you're doing right now, God. In this time of crisis, Lord, where people think you might be missing in the world, Lord, I just pray that people actually gravitate more towards you, and that this is a time where your glory can shine the brightest, God. And we just love you for just who you are. We also thank you for football, Lord. There's still being more stuff coming out each day, and we thank you for that entertainment that you're putting in here. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. So, yesterday we did the NFC West. So today I'm doing the AFC West. With the AFC West, that's where the Super Bowl champs come from, Kansas City Chiefs. So what I'm going to do here, so my Raider fans, this episode's for you. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to drop the teams in the order that I think they will come in the division. Now, it's okay to speculate, so tell me what you guys think afterwards. And yeah, so the first team. So I actually think the division's going to be pretty solid this year. And I'll tell you why with all the teams. So first team's Denver Broncos. So I'm going with the Denver Broncos because I still feel like Drew Lock hasn't proved himself at all, because the games he did play last year, yeah, he played fine, but teams weren't game planning for him or anything like that. So he does have something to prove to me, but I actually like Drew Lock. So that will be shown here as well. They've done a few moves. They lost Chris Harris Jr. and they lost Shelby Harris. Chris Harris Jr.'s been a staple in their defense for years now, and Shelby Harris the last 2 years has been their best D lineman. So that's actually a big deal for them. But one thing, they've done a couple things. They acquired A.J. Bouye for a 4th-round pick from the Jaguars. Pretty good. That's a pretty good swap for them. They also acquired Jarrell Casey from the Titans, who's been great the last 10 years. Seriously, he's ridiculously good. He's kind of old. Gave a 7th-round pick for him. That's a good move. If I have any Bronco fans watching, that is a really good move. It's kind of like he's not as good as Calais Campbell, but it's kind of like that type of thing where he has that type of production. And they also signed Glasgow, a guard. So they do need to keep working on their O-line, so don't get me wrong on that. But for my next move for them that I think they should do is, if they can make the cap space work, they should go for Jadeveon Clowney. And the reason why I say that is because him with Von Miller could really help that defense kind of push through these new losses and acquisitions and help really carry Drew Lock to have an easier season. So I think they should make a push. They should try to pay Jadeveon Clowney what he wants, or give him a prove-it deal, a 1-year prove-it deal. And then they have pick 15. And at pick 15, I have them going CeeDee Lamb. A lot of people have them going more fast receivers, but I really like CeeDee Lamb being the opposite of Courtland Sutton. I think they bring a really good duo and a tandem that could really cause destruction for seasons to come, like many. And if they do all this stuff, they might be better than the record I have. But I have them going 7-9, which 7-9 for last place in the division is pretty good. It's actually really good. So Raider fans, are you next? Are you next? Sorry, that was for dramatic effect. No, it's not the Oakland Raiders. I got hope. I'm giving you guys hope. And the next team I have is the LA Chargers. So Los Angeles Chargers actually last year were the worst team, and they lost their franchise quarterback. So, David, why would they go from 5-11 to a better record? Well, I'm gonna tell you why. Before I get into all this, they still have a guy named Tyrod Taylor that the year before last led the Buffalo Bills to the playoffs. He's really good when you don't have anybody else. Now they do. They have Keenan Allen. They have Mike Williams. They have Hunter Henry. They have good teams or good players. Their defense is good. Listen to this. They already had Desmond King and Casey Hayward, two stud corners, and then they acquired Chris Harris Jr. Like, oh my gosh, that guy went 2 years without allowing a touchdown. Think about that. They signed Linval Joseph, a proven D tackle. They acquired Trey Turner in a trade with the Panthers. That's a good guard. They signed Brian Bulaga from the who was the tackle for the Packers. He's a really good offensive tackle. Yes, they lost Phillip Rivers, and yes, they lost Gates. But I think Tyrod Taylor could actually step in and do well. I think their next move is to keep working on that offensive line. I think that's really important. If they can get more tackles, like another tackle, they should do it. They picked number 6 in the draft. I could see them trading down because the pick I have them getting is one that is going to be controversial. A lot of people think Herbert will be here at this time. He might be. But I think the Chargers are in a unique stage where they can bring a quarterback in and develop him for a year or two behind Tyrod Taylor. So I'm actually going to have the Pat Mahomes over Deshaun Watson pick here and go Jordan Love. I think they feel like they could develop him. They saw what happened with Kansas City when they went with the skill set over the production, kind of like over the name. So I think Jordan Love is where they go. If they do, I think they sit him all season and have Tyrod Taylor take the reins. Herbert, I think they start. But yeah, I think right now their team is a good team to come put a rookie quarterback in the next year or two, as long as they can keep their players. With everything that's being said, if that all gets done, they may be better, maybe worse, I don't know. But I have them also going 7-9, just have them winning a tiebreaker, I guess, with the Broncos. I just like the Chargers more than the Broncos this year. I don't know why. So then the next team. So now it's the Oakland Raiders or the Kansas City Chiefs. The second best team in the AFC West is the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm just kidding. It's the Oakland Raiders. But I did that for my Raider fan. Hey, man, anything can happen. Second place in your division compared to where they were along a couple years ago is not bad. And they actually were third place last year, I believe, because it says Broncos had the 13th pick and Raiders had the 12th and 19th. Okay, they might have been second. Anyway, that doesn't matter. Oakland Raiders, they've been doing a lot of work. They signed Nick Kwiatkowski, solid linebacker. Corey Littleton, solid linebacker. Nelson Aguilar has drop issues. He's from my team. But if you can get him out of his own head, he's actually a solid receiver. Jeff Heath, safety, but he'll also play special teams. Jason Witten, we all know about him. Marcus Mariota as a backup. And Eli Apple, who has had not a good career, but it's not too late for him to turn that around. They made a lot of good small-time signings. Like, none of these signings are break the bank. They're doing what good teams who have bad rosters do. They're building. For their next steps, I think just keep keep getting the depth players in free agency. There's no need to waste the money on big names. Keep getting these mid-tier guys so you have more mid-tiers than low-tier. And then build your team through the draft. You have 2 picks, right? You have picks 12 and 9. So I have 2 theories here. I think they either go Ruggs, the third, Henry Ruggs, the third at receiver, pick 12, and AJ Terrell at pick 19, because they love Bama and Clemson guys, and these are Bama and Clemson guys. Both of them would come off as a reach, but with Ruggs running that quick 40, he's going to climb the draft boards. It wouldn't be a surprise to me if he's the number 1 receiver on quite a few teams' draft boards right now. Probably like 5 teams, and Raiders will be one of those teams I think might be. And AJ Terrell, he kind of fell down a little bit during the playoffs last season, but he's still good. He fell down because they played Joe Burrow and the LSU Tigers, and the LSU Tigers were just unstoppable all season. Or, this is what I think the Raiders should do. Try to trade into either the top 10 or even the top 5 and get either Isaiah Simmons or Derrick Brown. Technically, they don't need pass rushers because they got Max Crosby, they signed Clelin Ferrell, they have Arden Key. Like, they have a bunch of young guys you need to let develop. And technically, they just signed 2 linebackers, so their number 1 need's probably not linebacker. Isaiah Simmons and Derrick Brown are talents that could transcend the defense into a good, those are your big names. You have to draft your big names. You don't sign your big names, you draft your big names. And that's what they would be doing with these guys. So that's what I think the Raiders should do. If they do that, they need to get more receivers some way. But you can get a stud receiver in the 2nd round this year. So I have them going 9-7, which I'll go back and see what all my records were at the end of these 8 days, and I'll put who I think will be in the playoffs. That might get them into the playoffs. So Raider fans, be excited. Kansas City Chiefs. I would like to talk about the Chiefs a lot, but they haven't really done anything. They lost some subpar corners and lost some subpar defensive linemen. Haven't signed anybody. The things I would say they should do is I think they should pick up depth players, get some cheap corners, get some cheap linemen that are pretty much what they just lost. Maybe go for a good stud corner, because they did lose Kendall Fuller. That guy's actually really good. Maybe go for a corner like Logan Ryan. And then at pick 32, I think they should go for Jonathan Taylor. He's a stud running back. He's a guy that can, at the end of games, when Mahomes has him up by 21 points, they can start handing him the ball and he'll run out the time, instead of just having to keep going for scores, because if they don't, they'll go 3 and out every time. With this, I have the Chiefs going 11-5, which has not been my number 1 record. It doesn't mean I don't think they can't repeat. They could. I just don't see them having the depth for all 17 weeks, so 16 games in 17 weeks, that will last the whole time. I think they'll have a few games where they lose because they probably have injuries with not very good players in. But anyway, that's how I have the AFC West going down. Tell me what you guys think. Raider fans, Josh Hemingway, this was for you. This episode's for you. I'm excited for the Raiders. I really hope they do go in for Isaiah Simmons or Derrick Brown. I think that would change their defense. And that's how you get your big names, is through the draft. So then you don't have to overpay them and then not have money for depth. They're doing good stuff in free agency. Really good division. This is a good division. I think both the West divisions right now are crazy good. But anyway, thank you guys. Share, like, comment, do everything. Whatever. Yeah. Thank you guys. I love y'all. Bye.